dimension.
God, please no, don't upgrade me. No, no. You will be deleted. Rise of the Cybermen in the Age of Steel by Tom McRae, and is of course the first two-parter and episode 4 and 5 of series 2 of Doctor Who. Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel tells the story of a huge explosion in the time vortex, sending the TARDIS completely off course and accidentally landing in the alternative universe, the parallel Earth, and where Rose discovers that her father's still alive, only with a twist, she has never been born. And to make matters worse, Mickey finds out his grandmother is still alive too. However, there's a parallel version of him, Ricky, who's a bit of a douche. And even worse than that, John Lumick, to cure his illness, is planning to upgrade the entire human race into his creations, the Cybermen, emotionless killing machines, and one of the Doctor's oldest and greatest enemies. Now, this is the first two-parter of Doctor Who I ever watched, and thank God this story was a two-parter, because I cannot see this episode just being a single story. It would have been way too rushed, a mess. But by having two parts, they have plenty of time. So, Rise of the Cybermen, how is it? Well, it's really good. Even if it's not perfect, it is a great setup to the big payoff that is the Age of Steel. And the reason why I wouldn't say Rise of the Cybermen is perfect, because although it's titled Rise of the Cybermen, we don't really see the Cybermen until the third act of the episode. So most of this episode is pretty slow and poorly paced. You are like, when are we going to see the Cybermen already? It's very much setup and build up, albeit a brilliant setup. So I'll get to when the Cybermen show up later, because it's a brilliant moment. But however, the opening scene, we show a little glimpse of John Lumick creating a Cyberman and ordering him to kill this guy, which is absolutely brutal. An exciting opening that intrigues you. What has John Lumick created? Is that really a Cyberman? And the episode is much more character-based than it is action-oriented. There are great character moments here, like Rose, of course. This is particularly special for Rose, as it brilliantly hits at where she will end up at the end of Series 2, of course, as she gets trapped on the parallel Earth in the Bad Wolf Bay scene. This, of course, is the first time she ends up on the parallel Earth by accident and finds out her father is still alive, whereas on her world, her father's dead, so naturally she's overjoyed, even though the Doctor keeps warning her, don't see him, he is not your father. She just doesn't listen, and you can totally understand why. If you discovered your family member's still alive in another world, you wouldn't listen to anybody. And even Mickey becomes a real badass and hero in this episode. This is really Mickey's moment. I mean, he's sick and tired of always being pushed aside and never thought of by Rose and the Doctor, so he understandably goes off to find his grandmother, who he finds is alive and well, thankfully. So he goes for a very similar character arc with Rose, only he ends up in a sticky situation when he gets caught up in a scheme with a gang with this guy named Jake and his parallel self, Ricky, who is determined to take down John Lumick, and Ricky is confused that he has an identical clone of himself, which is really funny. And Mickey and Ricky really don't like each other at first, let's just say, but their friendship does build naturally. And it's a very heartfelt moment when Rose gets a job as a serving girl at Pete's mansion, and she's serving drinks at Jackie's party, and she has a heartfelt talk with both Pete and Jackie, even if her Jackie conversation didn't end well. Went much better with Pete, so Rose gets the chance to have a relationship with her father. She never has. And I love the design of the parallel Earth. I freaking love the Zespies. The CGI on the Zespies looks incredible, and the way this world promotes cyber industries is incredible. How they have earpieces and advertising cyber logo on the Zespies. makes John Lumick, the head of Cyber Industries, he's of course the episode's antagonist and creator of the Cybermen, make him feel like a formidable threat. And Roger Lloyd Pack gives an absolutely incredible performance as John Lumick. And John Lumick's not just a one-dimensional villain who creates the Cybermen for no reason. You completely understand his motivation for doing it, because he's sick and he's dying, so he obviously wants to find a solution to cure himself. And the way the Cybermen are created is absolutely brutal. Yeah, it's so dark that will traumatise both adult and kids viewers. My mum says her favourite monsters are the Cybermen because of what they do to you is completely traumatic. They lure innocent, hungry people into a van, then they ship you off to Cyber Industries. They remove your brain with a saw, and they put your brain in a suit of armour and remove all your emotions. What kind of existence is that? And the climax of the Rise of the Cybermen is absolutely brilliant. The best part of the episode, without question. Not just because we finally see the Cybermen. They smash through Jackie's party. They completely start deleting anyone who refuses to be upgraded, and even when the Doctor surrenders, the Cybermen still refuse to spare their life and are closing on them. And I was like, oh my god, how am I going to get out of this? Because I'd never seen a cliffhanger on Doctor Who before at the time, so I could not wait for next week. Now, The Age of Steel, I can gladly say this episode is a definite improvement over Rise of the Cybermen, particularly because more happens. It's much more action-packed. Rise of the Cybermen was the setup, Age of Steel is the payoff, and it really feels that way. It gets straight into the action with the Doctor just doing something that he doesn't have a choice, even though he doesn't want to. He completely obliterates the Cybermen using the crystal that he's using to revive the TARDIS after the TARDIS was damaged in the Time Vortex explosion, which was badass. And it's great for the first half of the episode, seeing our heroes just run and flee from the overrun London of Cybermen, and Ricky sadly does get deleted, which is really emotional because him and Mickey have formed a natural bond. So, and Ricky has been seen by everyone as the more badass, so it's a great moment for Mickey when he does get heroic towards the end, which I'll talk about in a minute. And there's even this guy who works for John Lumick at Cyber Industries that gets a great character arc. He starts by helping John Lumick collect people to be upgraded, but in the Age of Steel he finally decides the right thing to do is to turn on John Lumick, and he starts to destroy John Lumick's chair that's keeping him alive, even if he does get deleted in the process. So at least he died redeeming himself and a hero. And the Cybermen decide it's time for John Lumick to become one of us, and they turn on their creator, much to his demands not to, which shows that they are emotionless. They don't listen to anyone, which makes them one of the best Doctor Who villains, in my opinion. And when the Doctor and the gang infiltrate Cyber Industries to face Lumick, there's one scene where the Doctor knocks the Cyberman unconscious, and the Cyberman remembers who they really were, so which adds some real depth and emotion to them. Some of them do remember what John Lumick did to them, and that's the overall theme of this episode, that although we do feel emotions and some of them can hurt, that's the point, that's what makes us human. You'd rather hurt than feel nothing at all. And the cyber controller design himself is brilliant. I love his glowing eyes, his big brain. It makes him really stand out among the others, and he even gets his throne, which is so coolly designed. Oh, I even have my own action figure. It's so awesome. And it's a brilliant moment when the Doctor's talking with the cyber controller, and he's like, an army's nothing, it just takes some idiot to crack the code, to which he's talking to Mickey, and this is Mickey's Zero's a hero moment. He cracks the code, he sends it to Rose's phone, and the Doctor activates code, giving the Cybermen back all their emotions, and that completely destroys them. And you're like, go Mickey, oh, I love you, man. And Even the destruction of cyber industries is epic when they all escape on the Zespi and the cyber trolley's crawling up the ladder to get them, but then he falls to his death in the explosion in epic fashion. That's one of the most epic villain deaths on Doctor Who ever. And even the resolution of this episode is really sad. Although the Cybermen have been defeated, Mickey has shown his heroic side, as he does choose to stay on the Pala because his grandmother's still alive and she needs him, especially after Ricky's been killed, and the Doctor sadly tells Rose that the TARDIS can never return to the parallel universe again, since they weren't meant in the first place. So Rose says a very emotional goodbye to Mickey, to the only boyfriend she's ever had. So the people who say Rose didn't care about Mickey, of course she cares about him, she just preferred the Doctor. So the ending of this episode is both happy that they defeat the Cybermen, but there are some consequences to it, which is what Doctor Who had back then, consequences for your actions. And so overall, Rise of Cybermen and the Age of Steel, great two-part story, I love it. So while it isn't 100% perfect, Rise of Cybermen did have a lack of Cybermen and was a slow build-up, but the Age of Steel almost completely made up for that. I really like both stories despite that, and it may not have revived the Cybermen as well as it did the Daleks in Dalek, but it is still a brilliant way to introduce the Cybermen to the New Who, and it doesn't feel like filler because it brilliantly connects and sets up the epic finale, Army of Ghosts and Doomsday. I give Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel 4.5 stars out of 5. Well, I love you guys, thank you all for watching. What do you think of Rise of the Cybermen and the Age of Steel? Please comment, let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Google+, and join me next time as I review the Idiot's Lantern, and I'll see you then. Bye guys.